in October of every year. For some reason, well, here's the reason. This year I had a little more things to do as far as business. I had some more goals to reach. So I didn't really start planning as I normally did. But as I closed out all business projects for the year and just started to get my mind settled on the next year, it was difficult. I just couldn't do it. And there have been years where I didn't plan. I had no goals. It was just, I'm showing up, I'm alive, I'm well, I'm going to do this thing. And sometimes that's just how life is. There are times where you don't have the mental capacity or even the interest to try to figure it out or try to plan. And I had to sit with myself. That's the first thing I had to do. One roadblock that was stopping me from truly getting some clarity or getting a head start to the next year was just sitting down and giving it some thought. And that which I was contemplating on for months, I was able to just get done with in like 2 hours of deep focus. That's one. Secondly, I needed that time to think for myself because I printed out my 2026 calendars, like blank, ready to go. And each time that I picked up the pencil to, update and put things on my calendar, it was all activities, events that were not related or were not for me. Nothing, I was really about to fill up my calendars with events, activities, but nothing was specifically for me. Nothing was in alignment with my goals. There was nothing on there for my leisure. There was nothing on there for my health. There was nothing on there for family. Not saying that I wasn't going to add those things, but initially what I was adding was things related to work, career, business, civic duties, right? Service duties. And there's nothing wrong with that. But one of my goals from now and moving forward is to prioritize myself, my health, and I had to do that. So I ask you, when you are prepping and planning for the next year, however it may be, what are you really putting on your schedule, on your calendar, if anything at all? And it's so easy for us to decenter self. It's so easy for us to prioritize other things. And even sometimes when you think you're putting yourself first, are you really putting yourself first? Can I be transparent? I literally, and I shared this with a friend the other week. I said, I looked at myself one day in the mirror and I said, wow, Tiffany, you look undisciplined. Now, here's what I mean. My grandmother would always say, you look like your life. And I started to look undisciplined and feel undisciplined. And that's not a good feeling. So I went from being a very strict and stringent person, having a strict schedule, doing things like clockwork, like I'm doing this at this time every day, and it has to be that way. And then that was suffocating in a way. So it's kind of like I went all the way to the other end of the pendulum and just kind of was like, I'm just gonna, fly and just, go with the wind. And there's nothing wrong with either, but for me and for most people, you gotta find balance. You gotta find a midway point. Like I want to be smooth sailing, but I also want to have structure and discipline. And so when I say that I felt and I looked undisciplined, that showed up in my health as far as weight gain, that showed up in my finances, me just spending money without rhyme or reason, not showing much respect and honoring my budget. That showed up as me not being prompt and punctual for small things, like not, like even Zoom calls, like honor time, honor your money, honor your space, honor other people. And so I just grew undisciplined in so many areas. And now, mind you, I'm a systems and structure person. I'm an automation person. Hey y'all, how you doing? But the discipline crept in so many ways. And I thought back to, yeah, I was like, I was not focused on a goal or an intention. And this doesn't mean that your life is a project, right? But I really had to think with the end in mind. Where do I want to be? Like for most people, right? The average person, they are thinking and they are working toward retirement, right? Just the ideal, not ideal, but the average person. But I had to start thinking about what I want my end to look like what I want my end years to look like, what I want my legacy to look like, and work with the end in mind. And based on what I want, that's what I've got to do. And this doesn't mean that I'm working hard. Like I used to subscribe to the notion of sleep when you're dead type thing. That's silly, right? But I really have to think about what type of life do I want to live? Hey, how you doing? How does um, how does God intend me to live? And and really live and thrive, not survive, not be stressed. But I really had to think about how Tiffany wants to live and carry out her life, not what society is pushing me to, not what the norm is, but what do I truly want? And I had to do all of this thought work. I had to do all of this thinking and just spending time with myself and being okay with it before I started to plan. Many times when we think about planning for the new year, it's about filling up the calendar and doing all the things. And let me tell you, one of my goals now and moving forward is to have as fewer things to do as possible. I am trying to have task-free days. I am automating and systemizing as much as possible. I am delegating as much as possible. I am empowering people to do the same thing. I am empowering people and teams and businesses and organizations that I work with, that I'm affiliated with, to find better, more efficient and sufficient ways to get things done. Grinding and working yourself to the bone, there's a time and place for all of that. But when it's all you do and all you know, are you really living? Now, again, maybe that's the life that you want. Maybe that's the life that you're designing, but I am designing a life to flow. I even remember looking at myself and saying, Tiffany, why haven't you, made the hair appointment? Why haven't you made the nail appointment? Why haven't you made the oil change appointment? Why haven't you done X, Y, and Z? Like I would show up in so many capacities for so many other people and show up for my clients and show up for organizations. I'm big on community service, showing up to do all of that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I left myself out of the equation once again. And we look at taking care of self as like this bad thing, but let me tell you, I was once told to find someone that you admire who is very successful and kind of see what they have done, right? There's always lessons to learn, and success leaves clues. And one thing that I stopped doing is taking advice and listening to people who have not accomplished anything that I want to accomplish. Like I look at a person's life, I look at what they've accomplished, what they're doing, because you can judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, period. And so you really have to look at people who have walked the trail that you or have accomplished your goals that you attend to somewhere near, and learn from them. Ask questions and see what they've been doing. And one thing that I have found in common with those people are they had moments, which most would call selfish, you know, but when you have split attention, when your focus is split, it's sheer distraction. Hey, how you doing, QC? It's sheer distraction. It's sheer distraction. And you have to have a moment where you just focus, lock in, and get the things done. And so my focus is myself right now. That doesn't mean that I am going to turn a blind eye and not be hands-on with other, you know, categories and things in life. I'm still going to be a business owner. I'm still going to work full time while I run my business. I'm still going to, be a loving fur mommy. I'm still going to show up for my friends. I'm still going to show up and do public service. I'm going to do all those things, but not before I take care of self fully and wholly. Fully and wholly. And that allowed me, that gave me the space to start thinking about 2026 in the next year. And why is that? Because when you're not intentional, life just passes you by. Time just passes you by. My mom always says, time waits on no man. And I don't want to get older and older and older. I don't want year after year to pass, day after day, month after month to pass. And I really don't know what time is going. Where I really have no receipts, where I really have no fruit, where I really can't look back and say, wow, this is what I've done, or this is what I've accomplished, or even just being satisfied with life. You know, my life, not the world, because I can't control any of that, but just my life. And so that helped me. And the last thing that I will share with you is, excuse me, is I had to think of my life beyond 30 days. Like I used to think and plan in 30-day sprints, 30-day measures. But that's just like a hamster in a wheel, just running, 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 tossing, no, not tossing, but running, 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 trying to catch up, trying to keep up. I think of my life as a journey. And I don't know the end point. I don't want to know the end point. But I understand that every day is really just a blessing that I need to honor and cherish and live in that day. My girlfriend says, be where your feet are. Be where your feet are. You know, be present in the moment and be thankful for the moment, especially when you're healthy, or just simply alive and you know that you're alive. That's a blessing in itself. And so I started to think of like 5-year sprint, 10-year sprint, not a sprint, but think of my life like, what does my 5-year vision look like? What does my 10-year look like? And so for some that might sound stressful, it might sound like a lot. But for me, and I'm just sharing what has been working for me, I just started thinking of like, okay, let me just focus on the next 5 years and next 10 years. Where do I see? What do I want? And then I can scale back. And I don't feel so pressured and restricted to get everything done in a year. And sometimes it's not about doing things, but just being. Maybe you just need to be. Maybe you just need to show up for yourself. Maybe you just need to work on loving yourself. Maybe you need to work on picking up a new hobby, whatever. But my point is, choose life. Design your life in a way that it flows for you, that it works for you. And sometimes the best way to get that answer for yourself is to spend time with yourself. Find a place that you like to go. Find a place where you can get some peace of mind. Like after you're done listening and watching this video, maybe it's, going to sit at the park. Maybe it's going to sit at the beach. Maybe it's sitting in your room, in your living room, in your car, where you can just breathe without interruption. Doing those healthy things that we know we should do, but we actually don't really do intentionally. Find that time for yourself, because your life, you are too precious. You are too important. You are too smart. You are too great to just wing it in life. Even if that means you only wake up every day to love yourself and be kind to other people. This is not about waking up to save the world or build the next masterpiece or draw up the next blueprint. Sometimes life is simply about, let's just really live, love ourselves, and be kind and respectful to other people. Just imagine if we all did that. Imagine if we all woke up, loved ourselves, and was kind to our fellow man. Just imagine if we all did that, Imagine a world where we all just woke up and we just try to make ourselves better every day, or just be better, or just be good, right? Now, of course, we all have different perspectives and definitions on what good and better is. Nevertheless, it would still make the world even better. So I want to share this with you before you head into the new year, and as you sit down and plan and structure, just simply think about what you want, what you expect. You got to set some intention. You know what you need. Even if you can't articulate it, sit down, spend some time with yourself. I was telling my girlfriend that, you know, in most jobs, you have to submit yearly or quarterly budgets for review. You have to submit monthly reports, and you have to turn in some type of paperwork and data. But we don't do that for ourselves. And so one thing I'm doing is I'm doing a self retreat, and I'm going to show you all how I'm doing that. So do subscribe to my channel because I want to walk you through that. But I am going to do all the recording and all of that after my retreat because I need to be and I will be totally immersed in that. I won't be thinking about creating content. But yeah, be encouraged. Do have a plan. Do have a focus. You are the measure of what that looks like and how that feels. You are the measure and definition of what success means for you and how you want your time to be spent. Just make sure that you spend your time well, and it doesn't just happen because you want it to. You've got to design it to be that way. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, do leave them below this video. Thanks for watching.